BYJU'S एग्जाम प्रेप के साथ रन्स बनाओ और रिवॉर्ड्स पाओ. Participate in our Score to Win contest and stand a chance to win cricket merchandise and guaranteed discount on the purchase of our online classroom program. All you need to do is answer one simple cricket-related question. So what are you waiting for? Play to win now. Terms and conditions apply.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. My name is Alpa Sharma and this is our editorial analysis. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible to everyone. Can you guys hear and see me clearly? Very good morning. Good morning, everybody. I'm absolutely good. I hope you guys are doing very good, working very hard. CLAT is coming even closer every single day. Very good morning. I'm absolutely good. Thank you so much for asking. I hope all of you are working hard, or all of you are doing great. Yes, clearly visible and audible. Good morning. Hi everyone. अच्छा देखो आज का एजेंडा क्या है? So आज का एजेंडा ऐसा है that I've got only one article. Why one? I pasted 2 articles, but then I realized तुम एक कर लो ये आर्टिकल मेरे साथ, यही बहुत है. Because this article is not a very easy one, and I have bought some questions on the basis of the article that I'm going to be discussing. Okay, I don't have options on that, but I've tried to make some questions which you are supposed to answer in your own words. I haven't made options, but I've made questions. And there are roughly 7-8 questions that are there. So it's a little lengthy article. The article is from the New York Times. Okay, so that's the source of the article. Okay, so yes, Satya Pratap, finally. Yes. So here we are. And vocabulary kitni hai? 4 words, only 4 words. But then you must be wondering, vocabulary itni easy hai, to ye article kyun difficult hai? You will know that. You will know because of the topic that is being discussed here, and that's exactly why the article becomes just difficult. We'll discuss the tone, summary tone आज का बहुत important होगा, बहुत ध्यान से बताना. Throughout the passage, while you make a mind map, look out for the tone. Identification of the tone today is tricky. Summary, not very difficult though. And in the end, we'll look at important articles from various sources, various newspapers. We'll see what are the important articles we should be doing. There are many new people joining me today. And Muji, good to see you back. Okay, so that's the entire idea. So start kare, everyone. Just give me a second. Ma'am, I recently analyzed a mock and I realized that I am very bad at inference and conclusion and support question. Okay, Kushi, today we're going to try to identify the inference and the conclusion both. So look out for it. See, how do we identify inference? How do we identify the conclusion? I have questions on both. All right. So Mehnur, past year के current affairs का revision हो रहा है, which is being done by Salik sir and Abhimanyu sir. Please watch those series, okay? Here we go. मेरा काम editorials कराना है. अब 4 भी नहीं, 3 ही words. भाई कितना easy article है ना? Authoritarianism. Authoritarianism is basically no personal freedom, abiding by the rules and regulations and the authority, and not succumbing to it, succumbing to it rather. So there are no opinions that you can produce. There are no wishes that can be fulfilled. Your personal freedom is absolute zero. You just abide by what the authority asks you to do. Am I talking about a political article? No, my children, I'm not. It's not a political article. Don't worry. Okay. The next word is redemption. Redemption is in Hindi पश्चाताप. करते क्या हम redemption में? हमने कुछ गलती करी तो हम उसके लिए we ask God for sorry, we ask for redemption, that our sins are absolved of and we don't have to repay for our sins in any manner. Like karma. So you do bad, you get bad. But then when you do bad, you ask for redemption so that you don't receive bad. Is it being too selfish? हम selfish हो रहे हैं ना कि हम कुछ गलती करते हैं तो हम we ask for redemption. Oh, Bani, stay safe. मैम आज आर्टिकल्स के साथ क्वेश्चंस लाए हो आप? यस प्राची, ऑप्शंस नहीं है बट क्वेश्चंस हैं, बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस हैं. ओके, वन पीपल रूल प्रतिमा, यस यू कैन से दैट. हाईली totalitarianism, dictatorship, autocracy, yes, all are synonyms to authoritarianism. Penance, yes Shreya, that's a synonym to redemption. Okay, सब रिलीजन में अपने तरीके के रिडेम्पशन होते हैं, सब रिलीजन में होते हैं. जहां गॉड है वहां रिडेम्पशन आ ही जाता है, नहीं तो हम गॉड में बिलीव कैसे करेंगे, है ना? ओके, inscrutable. Inscrutable is you can't understand that no scrutiny can happen there. You can't construe it, you can't interpret what's happening. Guy looked blankly inscrutable. He did not understand what was going around. Redemption, yes. So that's important, Purva. But considering the fact that it was an error and not a deliberate one, then the redemption has value. But then if it was a deliberate one and then you're seeking for redemption from God, then it's wrong. Also, if it's a repetitive one and then we seek for redemption from God, that also is wrong. I hope you understand that. And why is that important? That's important because today's article is on God. We're going to be talking about God today. Okay, we'll see God है, नहीं है, क्या काम है उनका? Do we believe in God? Should we believe in God? We're going to talk about that. Okay, unfathomable, perplexing, confused. Yes, yes, Supriya, Shreya, Khushi, these are synonyms to inscrutable. So these are the words. Yes, scrutiny नहीं हो सकती सत्या, जहां वो होता है inscrutable, जहां scrutiny नहीं हो सकती है. Okay, hi Vikash. So words are done. जल्दी से screenshot ले लो. Excited for the article? Do you like the topic? Let's quickly move on to the article. Cryptic, yes, Arshia. Ambiguous, confound, yes, these are synonyms to inscrutable. Today's article is taken from the New York Times. Okay, so before we proceed, if you're targeting CLAT 2023, your comprehensive combo course has been launched. Jaldi se enroll kar lo. If December CLAT, that is 2023 CLAT, not 2023 December, but 22 December CLAT is your target. You still have time in your hands. If you are regular and if you work hard and if you enroll yourself at the earliest, we together can make CLAT 2023 happen and a good seat reserved for us. So, jaldi se enroll kar lo, late mat karo. Okay, read the page, send me a done when you're done. Simple. Simple, right? Nothing complex here. It's only a conversation. No, Vikash. No, I don't have time. Hi, Dia. Wish you a very, very happy birthday. May this year be the best year of your life. May you achieve everything good that you desire for. Yes, Purva. Yes, he is. How did you guess it? The bar mitzvah? Yes, you are correct. It's a simple one. Now, a lot of people might not know. देखो मैं कुछ बता देती हूँ आपको. Some people might not know what this is. Okay, even if you don't know, it does not matter. It's a religious practice belonging to Jews. Purva guessed it correctly. And this is the author's son. And then when something of this sort happens in the society, specifically during the second wave of COVID, I personally actually believed that God does not exist. क्यों? क्योंकि अगर God exist करता है, He would not let people die. He would not let families break up. He would not let the suffering happening. God should love us. God's motive is not our suffering. That means possibly God does not exist. Yeah, that's what the question that's being put up here. कुछ भी tricky नहीं है यहाँ. Simple language में लिखा हुआ है. यहाँ तक किसी को भी doubt नहीं होगा. Okay? So, there's a simple conversation that happens, and the father asks, why do you think God does not exist? And that's why people are moving away from God. And then he said, he wouldn't let all of the people die or suffer like the pandemic or the killings in Kiev. Kiev ki kya baat kar rahe ho aap? Let's look at our country. Simple. Okay, here. Read the page. First answer this question after you've read the whole page. Answer this question, the first question that I've highlighted. Karthik. That's a typical Indian mom behavior. That's a typical Indian mom behavior. My mom does the same to me. I'm almost 40. My mom does the same to me. When she knows I sit for a puja, even if my menstrual cycle goes on, she scares me. God is going to punish you. Don't do that. That's a typical Indian mom behavior. But what's the answer for the question? Purpose of this entire, mentioning this entire conversation. Okay. One answer is to understand why Rex does not believe in God. Okay. Okay. Others? नहीं सत्यम ऐसा कभी भी नहीं हुआ. I've never worked for them. Purpose to understand Rex. Okay. Point of view regarding God. You're okay. Haha. Mayur, I'll take it as a compliment. Thank you. Okay. Purpose is to pose the question. He's trying to focus on that why some people think God doesn't exist. Okay. Okay, Iram, why does God let people suffer? Okay. See, when there's, okay, let me explain something. When there's any kind of conversation that is mentioned in the beginning of a passage. Do you remember last year's passage that appeared in CLAT about Sherlock Holmes? Okay. The passage wasn't about Sherlock Holmes, but there was a conversation है ना, between Brown and between Sherlock Holmes and his friend, और वो conversation was leading us to some central point of the passage. Can we say this conversation between Rex and his father is leading us to probably at a point that he's trying to mention, the author is trying to make? The conversation isn't about only Rex and his father. The conversation is about existence of God and our sufferings. Can we say that? Yes or no? Yeah, Watson. I forgot his name. Thank you for reminding me, Sharvari. Yes, exactly. Correct. So, the conversation that's there. अब देखो, all those people who are still confused with inference कैसे निकालते हैं? देखो लिंक क्या है. अगर कॉन्वर्सेशन ही बताना होता तो नेक्स्ट पैराग्राफ में प्रॉब्लम ऑफ इविल क्यों निकल के आया? व्हाई इज ही मेंशनिंग प्रॉब्लम ऑफ इविल? द कॉन्वर्सेशन इज मेंशन हाउ पीपल थिंक अबाउट एग्जिस्टेंस ऑफ गॉड ड्यूरिंग हार्ड टाइम्स. Ahana, very good. to show that how people who do not believe in God think. Agreed. Why people don't believe in God, what could be a reason, what and how people react during the time of sufferings. That is the point of this conversation. That is the purpose of the conversation. Not merely about Rex and his father. It has a bigger picture. You have to get the bigger picture. Okay? Now, second question. Read the next paragraph. Answer the second question that follows. Yes, Bhavya, you're right. Yes, Shrestha. तनु कैचअप करो, जल्दी से पढ़ो. Jayaprakash, agreed. Answer the last question that is highlighted. Okay, all right. Okay, Sharvari, Satya, got it. Others? Exactly. Purva, perfect answer. Perfect. So, if you see this paragraph, this one, the author tries to find out the reason of the existence of problem of evil. But can he find a plausible reason or a plausible explanation for the existence of problem of evil? Can he or has he found a plausible explanation for the existence of problem of evil? ये बताओ मुझे. प्रीति, आप बताइए. Ali, yes, correct. ईरम, देखो ईरम एंड प्रीति, आपने जो लिखा है ना, ये एक प्लॉजिबल डेफिनेशन है कि क्यों प्रॉब्लम ऑफ इविल एग्जिस्ट करेगा. बट द ऑथर इज नॉट कन्विंस्ड. नो, ही इज नॉट. It's not clear. He says there are many reasons, many answers, but they are poorly reasoned. The author is not sure of why the problem of evil exists. Now let's try to understand why the problem of evil, what is the problem of evil? The problem of evil is that we believe in the existence of God, yet there is evil, yet there is suffering. Why is there suffering? If I believe in God, God is omnipresent for me, God is omnipotent for me, God is omniscient for me. God को सब पता है, God को सब दिखता है, God सब जगह है. ठीक है? जब सब जगह है और सब दिखता है और सब पता है, तो ये evil क्यों exist करता है? ये suffering क्यों exist करती है? So the problem of evil is basically the existence of suffering despite our belief that God exists. That is the problem of evil. Did you get it, everyone? Exactly, Jayaprakash. Correct. There's a correlation between God and evil. But what exactly is the correlation? Does God deliberately make us suffer? Or is God blind to it? We don't know that. We have no plausible explanation to it. So there's a correlation. That's all. Okay? So, it's not very clear why any reason could be true that God wants us to suffer and there has to be evil. It turns out there's something God can't do. And probably God can't create good without any evil. Yin and yang. Have you seen that? looks like this. This part is all black, and this part is black, and this part is white, and this part is white. Have you seen yin and yang? What is the philosophy? Yes, Diya, that's the point. So, getting back to the paragraph, yin and yang is a philosophy that good and bad, black and white, they coexist. This yin and yang concept is actually the last line, that there cannot be any good without evil. Yeah, that's the Chinese philosophy. Correct. All right, let's move on. देखते हैं आगे क्या होता है. It's not as simple as it looks. Read, answer the question that follows. Good morning, everyone. Read the page, answer the question. Plausible explanation, Vaishnavi. जितने लोगों ने लेट ज्वाइन किया पेज पढ़ो, आंसर करो. Yes, correct. Yes, प्रीति, बिल्कुल सही. Sharvari, बच्चे, understand the question. That's a back pain, Megha. That's a kind of a back pain that starts from the back and moves to your legs. Okay? There is need for pain to let happen good. Okay? We feel pain is the time we tell God. No. Everyone who is saying, understand, listen to me carefully, everyone. Everyone who is saying, if there's no pain, why will we believe in God? Wrong. We still do not know if the author believes in God or not. We still don't know if the author is trying to convince you of the fact that you have to believe in God. We still don't know that. The problem, the question here is a correlation, not between God and evil. The correlation is between good and evil. This evil is equal to suffering in the sense of the passage. He says evil has suffering hai. But ye suffering, ye pain, why is this needed? It is needed because जब pain होगा तभी आप ज्यादा compassionate बनोगे, तभी ये heroic acts आएंगे. कैसे heroic acts? Example देखो इसके डॉक्टर का. इसके लिए this doctor is a hero. According to him, if God existed or if God was omnipotent, this sciatica pain would not have been there. The pain is still there, and then there's another hero for him, not God. The hero is Tony, who is curing him of his pain. Take for example COVID. COVID nahi tha na, to probably my neighbor who could not cook because he was suffering from COVID, I would have never cooked for him. I would not have let out money for people who need it. I would not have gone an extra mile to find beds for unknown people because I knew there were a couple of empty beds in a hospital I had known. The idea is only and only when there is suffering, the goodness would come out in us. सब कुछ ही अच्छा है तो आप compassionate क्यों बनोगे? आप कोई heroic act क्यों करोगे? Without any greed. या तो greed है तब करोगे heroic act, but यहाँ कोई greed नहीं है. It's only because everybody around us. कीव में killings होती हैं, हमारे कंट्री में कुछ स्टेट्स में किलिंग्स होती है, मॉब लिंचिंग होती है. We come out, we talk about them, we talk about the LGBTQ. Why do we do that? We do that because we see suffering and we want to be compassionate towards them. So it's not the belief in God. Okay? Okay, I'll explain the last two lines. Yes, Shruti, I will. Exactly. Now see, he says because of the pain, that's exactly why we are compassionate. There's redemption and there are heroic acts like Tony mending his back, the doctor. To get those goods, though, God has to give us free will. अब ये lines बहुत important है. Thank you for pointing it out. Free will दिया है तुमको. Suffering है, COVID है. You could hold cylinders at your home. You could have kept it at your home. God has given you a choice. Free will दिया है तुमको कि suffering मैं तुम्हें दे रहा हूँ. You have a free will to decide what and how you're going to react. You could be somebody creating artificial remdesivir, which is only filled with saline water, and inject people with that. Or you could be somebody providing them with remdesivir free of cost. You have free will. And once you have free will, that is when there are some people who would abuse the free will. They would take advantage of the suffering. They would not be compassionate. They would not do heroic acts. They would abuse the suffering that's there and the free opportunity that they have, that they can abuse it. You can make money out of COVID. You can possibly, example, politicians. If there's mob lynching happening in our society, who are those people who make the most amount of benefit out of the mob lynchings? Politicians? Yeah. So, free will है उनके पास में. They could succumb to the pressure. They could move out victorious and heroic. They could gain vote banks by either promoting mob lynching or diversification or breaking up the cultures in the society. It's their free will. They could do anything to it. So the need of the pain is to know that you can be compassionate. You can opt for redemption and do heroic acts. That's what you can do. I hope the last two lines are clear to everyone. Okay? All right. Yes, exactly, Sharvari. Correct. When opportunities come, responsibilities. With opportunities come responsibilities, and some people abuse and exploit the situation. Exactly, because you have free will. ठीक है? Next page लेके चलूंगी. जल्दी से पहले like कर दो session और share कर दो. Okay? Let's move on. आगे देखते हैं next page में क्या question है. Intriguing, is it? Here you go. Answer this question. Padu, answer this question. Getting back to Rex's question. What is the author's view about God being omniscient? Thank you, Shreya. Simple, Shrestha. Agreed. Do you see the sarcasm? Send Putin out. That's बोला क्यों नहीं खत्म करते ये वॉर? खत्म करो इसको. तुम तो गॉड हो, तुमको तो सब पता है. Warrior साहब, अब आंसर करो क्वेश्चन. What's the author's view about God being omniscient? If I had more time, I would have made options and this would have turned into a very, very tricky reading comprehension. Exactly. He questions the fact that God is omniscient. According to him, God is not omniscient. Exactly. He questions the belief that God is omniscient and that God knows everything. If God knew everything, तो भाई पहले ही पुतिन को खत्म कर देते ना. उसको बाहर भेजते, क्यों कराई इतनी वॉर? Why so much of suffering? Also, author brings the point about God being omniscient because he tries to counter the reasoning given in the previous page. Now, what was the reasoning given in the previous page? The reasoning given was that there is a free will and you can either make or break it. You can be compassionate or you can abuse the free will. And that's when Rex's question is being tried to answer. But this also does not answer Rex's question, because if God was omniscient, he would only make good people who are compassionate. He would not make evil people, because evil people will make the suffering even worse. तो अगर गॉड को पता था कि ये evil intention है इसका, तो उसको पहले ही क्यों नहीं खत्म कर दिया गॉड ने? Why are there still so many evil people living in the world? And why do good people leave early? If God is omniscient, he would have stopped that. So इसका मतलब रेक्स का क्वेश्चन अभी भी आंसर नहीं हुआ है कि गॉड ये सफरिंग क्यों करवा रहे हैं. Why is not God letting it end? अगर वो कंपैशन के लिए था तो सबको कंपैशन सिखाते ना. उनको अब्यूजिंग का पावर क्यों दिया? वो क्यों अब्यूज कर रहे हैं? अब्यूज करने वाले लोगों को खत्म क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं? अगर सिर्फ कंपैशन सिखाना पर्पस होता तो इसका मतलब अभी भी सफरिंग एंड नहीं हो रही, because there are people who are abusing the powers, abusing the opportunities. That's the reason why he brings out the opinion about God being omniscient or not being omniscient. Abhi bhi, you see the question still prevails. Can you still now identify if the author believes in God? Can you identify author's point of view about the existence of God? Yes, Belinda, correct? Yes, Arshia. This is New York Times, Ayushi. Okay. No, we still don't know what the author thinks about the existence of God. We still don't know. Answer the last question. Why is the example of the mother used? Yes, the author is still questioning if he exists or not. We still don't know if he believes in the existence or not. Okay. Read the next paragraph. Answer this question. Beautiful example. कितना अच्छा एग्जाम्पल है, देखो एक बार. Most of us fall into this set. Okay, Shreya? All right. Yes, Samarth. Yes, Anushka. Yes, Shazia. Yes, Sharvari. Correct. Exactly. Simple. देखो, the purpose of mentioning a mother's example here is to show how God functions. Probably a mother is compared here to God, where there's a minor surgery the child has to go through. And then the child must be wondering, my child every day asks me, मेरे बच्चे का एग्जाम्पल छोड़ो, आपकी मम्मा आपको मना करते हो, don't do this, don't do that, don't go here, don't go there. And you are at an age where a lot of you might be hating the conditions on your life right now. And you might be hating, why these conditions? I want to do this. Let me just go out. Let me just have fun. And then later on you would realize that it was for your own betterment. These sufferings that the teenagers go through, that's equivalent, tantamount to the sufferings we see in the society. Your mother says, don't do this. Or why would your mother put you through so much pain? She might be actually weeping in the night for saying no to you. But then she knows it's necessary for you. It's going to be for your own betterment only. That's going to be making you a better person. So, mother here is clearly compared to how God functions. You know that just the presence of your mother will make things tolerable. Yeah. Her care, her love will make things easy, and you would exactly because they care for us. Correct. So, your mom functions like a god. Certainly does. And trust me on this, 10 years down the line, you would call up your mom and say, Mom, you were right. I've done that. Been there, done that. You would do that as well. चलिए आगे चलते हैं देखते हैं. So इसका मतलब थोड़ा सा plausible explanation आया है कि suffering क्यों हो रही है. Probably that's needed. But मेरे presence से, God के presence से, तुम ये suffering भी you'll sail through it. चलिए. Okay. This page does not have any questions, so let's read this. He says, I'm with Rex. I think the problem of evil poses a serious barrier to religious belief. That is, this line says that if there is evil, if there is suffering, people are going to believe less in God rather. They would say, God, if you existed, why did this suffering happen? Why did my loved ones leave the world? Why did you take them away so soon? So it's a barrier to religious belief, not making you closer. Suffering will not make you closer to God. It will put you away from God because you trusted God and do the best for you. But probably some people might think this is not the best. I did not want this to happen. Why did you let me suffer? Why are all the killings happening? Why is the world burning? It puts you away from the religious belief. Still, Rex continues to study for his bar mitzvah. Why? So it's a religious practice. Now there's a very important question. Rex questions the existence of God, yet he continues his religious practice. There's a very good question. Why does he do that? Before Rex came along, I struggled to account my own religious practice. I don't believe in God. So it's evident he does not believe in God because he's continuously questioning the existence of God till now. So why do I fast? Because he's a Jew. He fasts and he observes religious practices. You don't know the meaning of these? You know he's a Jew and he practices these religious philosophies. He is an atheist, yet he practices them. Why? It's just what we Jews do, I might have said. It keeps me connected to the community I value. Very plausible. I am a Hindu. I probably might fast once a year. I probably might go and tie Rakhi to my brother. I probably will light diyas on Diwali. Why? I'm an atheist, but why would I do that? वो मुझे मेरे community से connected रखती है. And these are practices that I've seen while I grew up. It makes me connected to the religion. God का existence मुझे नहीं पता, but ये मुझे connected रखती है. And that's exactly what the author says. He's an atheist, but he's connected. Yes? Okay, let's move on. Okay. I'd still say that I suppose, but when Rex was 4, he reframed my view of religion. One night, I was cooking dinner and he asked, is God real? Why do you think? I think that for real, God is pretend, and for pretend, God is real. भाई साहब, क्या मतलब है इस लाइन का? कौन समझाएगा? पढ़ लो, बताओ मुझे. अच्छा, अब है ओके, कोशिश करती हूँ हिंदी में भी. ठीक है? एक्चुअली बहुत सारे बच्चे हैं जिनको हिंदी बिल्कुल नहीं आती है. आप तो थोड़ी थोड़ी इंग्लिश समझ जाओगे ना. दैट्स द रीजन कि मैं हिंदी में इतना कम क्यों बोलती हूँ. Diya, that's why people still believe in God. That's why. समझाओ मुझे लाइन का मतलब. Real God is pretend and for pretend God is real. क्या मतलब है ये? What is he saying? Okay, that for God to be real, you need to pretend him to be. Yes. And if you pretend that God is real. Yes, yes, yes. दिया एक बात बताओ, आप जो God में believe कर रहे हो, आपके लिए तो एक pretend God ही है ना वो. Have you seen him? No, you haven't. You've seen possibly acts that you believe God has done for you. Yes. And now I'll explain this. You are right, Anupama. If you pretend that God exists, it means that God exists for you. Yes, Anupama, correct. बच्चे देखो, children play pretend games. घर घर, kitchen kitchen. They pretend that they are family members. Yes, they do. They play teacher, teacher, doctor, doctor. They pretend that they're doctors. And while they pretend, they genuinely believe in it. For you, your parents would be your heroes. You genuinely believe, while you're too young, you genuinely believe that they have superpowers. 3-year-old, 4-year-old would still believe that, my mamaji could actually look through the wall. He has superpowers. Yes, it's only about what you believe in. So when you pretend, you have never seen God. You've never seen God. And since you've never seen it, God जो है ना आपके दिमाग में, it's only a pretend picture. And when you pretend that he's there, you start believing into him and you start thinking that he is for real. That is what it means. These kids used to play, na? Okay. Cooking and everything. If you believe he is there, then he is. Exactly. Yes, Vaishnavi. Why can't that be true, Shazia? What's wrong with that? Why can't that be true? He's non-existent. He's only there in your head. And once it's there in your head, you start believing that he is for real. Probably he's not for real anymore. It is, Sharvari. It is a completely philosophical passage. And that's why only one passage today. Let's move on. He was stunned. He said, oh, a 4-year-old can think like this. He wanted to know why he said this, what he meant. Let's see what he meant. God isn't real, but when we pretend, he is. Rex, who participates in religious practices, 4-year-old child, he says he's not real. Because if he was real, he would not let the suffering happen. There's no plausible explanation for suffering till this line into the passage. We don't know why suffering happens, why the abuse of suffering happens. So we just pretend that he's there, and once we pretend he's there, he actually is for us. Philosophers have a name for this sort of view. They call it fictionalism. Justified. Fiction में हमने God बना लिया. किसने God को देखा? आपने देखा, मैंने देखा, किसी ने नहीं देखा. But हमने ऐसे कुछ acts देखे हैं जो हमको लगता है ये God के acts हैं. Agreed? और इसी को हम fictionalism बोलते हैं. Science does not believe in the existence of God. Science will call it fictionalism. Suppose I say now read this. You would, all the Potterheads, you would love this. Read this and then answer who are fictionalists. It's a typical critical reasoning paragraph. Read it carefully. Yes, Jayaprakash, agreed. Okay. All right, Purva. Okay, Satya. Satya, that's an information about fictionalists. But who are fictionalists? Okay, Ragini? Okay. Who doubts something because that may be true in not this world but some other world? Okay, yes. Those who believe that something doesn't exist but it will exist only in a fictional world. Correct. Only something that's happening in pretend. So fictionalists are those people. Okay. Yes. So basically, fictionalists are those people who believe into the fact that there can be a parallel world, a parallel story, but only in fiction, only in your belief. So if you believe in it, if you pretend that, okay, Dumbledore exists, he would exist for you. If you pretend that God exists, he would exist for you. And that's exactly what fictionalists believe in. Exactly. People who pretend that something is true, but only pretending that, doing that in fiction. Correct, Belinda, you're right. So author finally answers the question that he does not believe in God. He says, Rex was right. And for real, God is pretend. And for pretend, God is real. That is, if you pretend, then you would think, okay, God really exist करते हैं. और क्योंकि आप वो pretend इतना करते हैं तो आपको लगता है कि हाँ वो reality है. Pretend करते ही वो reality बन जाती है आपके लिए. I'm a fictionalist about God. That means he says God is there only in fiction, not reality, only in our imagination. Agreed. इतने सारे religion है, कोई गलत तो नहीं होगा ना? आपके लिए गॉड कोई और है, एक मुस्लिम के लिए कोई और, एक सिख के लिए कोई और, क्रिश्चियन के लिए कोई और है, सबके अलग डेफिनेशन है गॉड के, सबके लिए उनके गॉड सुपीरियर है. बट ये हमारी ही स्टोरीज हैं, हमारी ही फिक्शंस हैं जो हमने क्रिएट करी है, हमारे ही प्रिटेंड, हमारे ही बिलीव्स है जो हमने क्रिएट करे हैं. उसके बाद क्या रियल है वी डोंट नो, बट वी सर्टेनली बिलीव इनटू आवर गॉड. सो दोज आर फिक्शनलिस्ट्स. Here we go. Read the page and answer this question that follows. Synagogues are basically prayer places for Jews. Okay, Shazia, anecdotes are hearsay. Would you agree? And that's not my belief, that's the author's belief. I'm just trying to justify the author's point of view. Did you see that? You didn't. You heard it. I would talk about the Ram Setu. क्योंकि मैं हिंदू हूं तो मैं थोड़ा रिस्क ले सकती हूँ हिंदुइज्म के बारे में बात करने, बट मेरे पास एक एक्सप्लेनेशन है. बट वो प्रिटेंड भी तो हो सकता है ना ऑथर के पर्सपेक्टिव से. मेरा क्या बिलीफ है ये मैटर नहीं करता अभी, ये ऑथर का बिलीफ है. So if I've seen the Ram Setu, I will believe that Ram tried to cross the ocean to reach Lanka. But did I see that happening? I didn't. Could there be a possibility of that being a pretentious story? There could be. Okay? Understand it from that perspective. Please don't link it to my religious philosophy, anyone. Okay? Answer the question. That is what matters for us. We don't know whether it exists or not. We just believe it blindly like the author sings prayer. But why does he do that, Shweta? Why? That's not the reason, Mahi. Think about it more. The reason has been brought to bring the pretending of God to be real ultimately. Okay, yes, Diya, agreed. Samarth, you could. And that's pretense, according to the author. Ali says, ma'am, he mentions synagogues to conclude that pretending something makes the world a better place. Yes, Ali, agreed. The relation reiterates how the author points out pretense in the passage. Exactly. It just continues. He focuses back on the fact that pretense, why is that needed? Why would you pretend there's God? The same reason is mentioned here while it gives you examples of the synagogue. He goes to the synagogue. ये सिर्फ एक ऐसा explanation है that makes you understand why pretense is needed. Why we pretend there's God. It makes the world a little bearable. It makes the suffering a little bearable. Similarly, here he just did not understand the hymns in English, and it actually did not link to the religion he followed, yet he pretended. Because with pretense, things looked better. Things were bearable. Okay? So the reason the synagogues are mentioned is that the author tries to explain the concept of pretending again कि हम जैसे pretend करते हैं God है, हम क्यों pretend करते हैं? उससे ना चीजें थोड़ी bearable हो जाती है, थोड़ा हमको pacify हो जाता है mind कि ठीक है, there is somebody looking up to me, मुझे डरने की नीड नहीं है, he will look after me, he will do the best for me. हम ये तो बोलते हैं ना भगवान जो करेगा अच्छा करेगा, हम believe करते हैं, क्यों बोलते हैं हम ये? To pacify ourselves. The similar thing happens here. He just does not like to sing those in English, yet he pretends because it makes the world a better place. Okay, so that's the reason why synagogues are mentioned in reference to pretense in the passage. Last page. Read this, answer the question that follows. Yes, Movies, you're right. Vaibhav, I can guide you about critical reasoning and English, but I can't guide you about GK. I think you should be asking this question to Salik or Abhimanyu. But if you want to know about how to read newspaper for 2024, I can guide you towards the end of the class for critical reasoning and English. तभी तो एक लिया सत्य आज खाली. He does not believe in God, Ali. Yes, Shweta, you're right. Exactly. Okay. All right, Purva. Ali, is that the conclusion? That's the second question, by the way. Up, what's the conclusion? Sirf ye answer karo. I think you're confused. Only answer what is the conclusion. Only this. Don't answer this. No, Ali, that's not the answer for the second question. Iram, your answer is correct for the second question. Remind that God might not be real, but pretending him to be will make us think that life is easier. Yes. Pretense of higher power helps us hold on. Yes. Yields strength to cling on and move ahead. Yes. Makes the world a little more bearable. Thank you, Vaishnavi. Ma'am, author pretend करता है कि believing in God, okay, and Rex के बारे में बोला गया है वो. Oh, no. Rex is made to believe that God is real so that he gets a power. No. Rex is not made to believe that God is real. The father and the son have a very logical conversation. Yet, he takes his son to pray to God, which he does not believe in. That is because believing into God Jayaprakash, I'm reading it. Rex was forced into praying the God just with the sake that everything is going to be better. Yes. And hopefully the magic that makes end of suffering. Okay. If God really exists, then why? See, now here he gives you an example of Santa Claus. He says, everybody knows Santa Claus does not exist. Yet we pretend. Similarly, he reiterates the pretending fact. He says it's just not for kids. We also pretend that there's God. And then we go for prayers, we go to synagogues. I take my son and he would be praying to a God he does not believe in. It will be a magical morning. And for that moment, at least, we'll transcend the troubles of the world. So basically, he takes his son to pray to a God he does not believe in because he wants his son to believe the fact that the suffering has a way out through pretense. And when you pretend there's a God, even if you don't believe in, you pretend, you start believing into it. And when you start believing into it, you feel that the suffering is lesser and the supreme power would take care of you. The pretending God would take care of you. The conclusion here is that pretending makes life bearable. Pretending makes things better, more rosy, and our suffering less. That's the conclusion that's put up here. So probably the author here promotes the idea of pretending. That's the conclusion of the passage. Now, a very, very important question. What's the tone of the author? Be very careful about the tone, everyone. Yes, to be more connected to the religion. Yes, like he is more connected, despite the fact that he is an atheist. That's why Rex is taken, so that he's more connected. Like the example of Santa Claus. What's the tone? Philosophical, critical, analytical. Okay. It's philosophical for sure. It's analytical as well. Philosophical, analytical. And analytical isliye bhi hai because when there's a philosophy mentioned, it always comes up with analysis. He doesn't merely mention a philosophy, remember. A philosophy will usually be accompanied with analysis. Because when an author gives you a philosophy, he just does not believe blindly into the fact that you will believe the philosophy and you will follow that. He will convince you. So for that, he will do the analysis as well. A lot of philosophical passages are analytical. So it's philosophical predominantly, and then if there's a second choice, it has to be analytical. Okay? And did you love the article? If you did, please share the video. Took me a lot of effort to make this class up. Share the video, comment under my video, like the video if you haven't done that yet. If you're targeting CLAT 22, batch 3 of the crash course has also been launched. You still have time. You can rush up and enroll yourself right away. Download our app on Google Play right now. BYJU'S Exam Prep. Now, I'm sharing today's... no, it's not expository. Yes, Purva, you could. Not optimistic, no. Is the purpose of writing the passage? All those people who think it's narrative or is it optimistic, understand what's the purpose of writing the passage. If the purpose of writing the passage is to show you optimism, then you can say the tone is optimistic. Okay, but that's not the purpose. Tone cannot be optimistic here. Acha hoga future mein. No, that's not the tone throughout the passage. Shruti, which year are you targeting? Sharing today's Hindu? No, I don't think I can do that. We're running out of time. Not sharing today's Hindu and Indian Express in the background. I'm taking your questions for 5 minutes. Shoot up your questions. Shruti, if it is 22, reading can be an ongoing process. Just keep reading editorials. GK, probably you can give a skip to now, but editorials should be an ongoing thing. Not with the aim that something you've read comes up in the examination, but with the aim that you are in a habit of reading. This question comes up multiple times. Shweta, I've explained this. I'll explain this again. Expository and descriptive. Expository. So basically, descriptive and expository are interrelated tones. But if both of this article is from Ajitesh, the New York Times, it can be thought-provoking. Yes, Samarth, it can be. Thank you, Shreya. Thank you, Ahna. Bye, Ragini. Okay. So back to Jayaprakash. It takes up a lot of time, bache, and usually a lot of passages cannot have such questions. But I'll still try. Okay. Okay. Raja Kumar Sahu, how to make critical reasoning strong. Raja, आज आपने देखा हमने कैसे आर्टिकल पढ़ा? जैसे हम आज आर्टिकल पढ़ रहे हैं, हम क्वेश्चंस करते हैं, हम एक एक लाइन पे ध्यान देते हैं. यही चीजें आपकी रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन और क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग दोनों स्ट्रांग बनाती हैं. क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग के लिए एक चीज और आपको करना जरूरी है, अपने बेसिक कंसेप्ट्स अबाउट व्हाट इज कंक्लूजन, इन्फरेंस, अजम्पशन, आर्गुमेंट, इनके बेसिक कंसेप्ट्स क्लियर कर लीजिए. दैट विल मेक योर क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग स्ट्रांग. 22 के लिए जीके आप स्टॉप कर सकते हैं, बट रीडिंग मत बंद करिए. यस, सो बैक टू द क्वेश्चन. डिस्क्रिप्टिव एंड एक्सप्लेनेटरी एक्सपोजिटरी का डिफरेंस. Newspaper's first page, an event happened, okay? What do you think, Sidhan? Will it be descriptive or explanatory? Some accident happened. Will it be descriptive or expository? Satya Pratap, I'm very proud of you. That will be expository. Descriptive is more detailed about the event. That's the only thin line of difference, okay? So, explaining क्या हुआ, description उसकी details में जाना, getting into the depth of it. That's the only thin line of difference between these two. Thank you, Shruti. Yes, Vaishnavi. Yes. Ma'am, sometimes when I get stuck into answers, it seems like orange. You know, when you're stuck with two, you just have to find the difference between the two options. Each word, how are they two different and which one of them is closer to the passage? That's how you get the correct answer. No, see that? That's explanatory. Descriptive becomes refer to page number 2, refer to page number 3. That's descriptive, bache. I hope you get the difference. Okay. I think I've answered all the questions then. Winding up the class. I'll see you after 2 days on Wednesday with another editorial class. Have a very good day, everyone. God bless all of you. Work very, very hard.